Hey guys, welcome back to the TMP Q&A Wednesday. You ask, I answer. I'm TMP, the Miracle Perspective, and I'm here today with a very interesting question. This was not directed to me specifically, but it was a question that I thought, let me give it a thought. Listen to the question and we'll get to it.
What makes you lose interest in someone that you once had an interest in? And
Beautiful. Beautiful. As short and simple and straight to the point as that. What makes you lose interest in somebody that you once had an interest in? Interesting question, right? This question was asked on radio by this presenter friend of mine, and I think I didn't get the responses because I didn't follow through. He sent me a voice note, and I thought, let me just give it a thought. And I think it's most relevant at this time because we are approaching Valentine's Day. Flowers and roses everywhere, red and white, left, right, and center. Coming right after a beautiful show that we had on Monday with the lovely ladies, and it was great. So I thought, let me tackle this question in this way. What makes you lose interest in somebody that you once had interest in? Basically, okay, let me do this. I invite you guys to also give this question a thought. Give me your feedback. Give me your answers in terms of what do you think the answer to this question is. What is it? If you are one person who has once lost interest in somebody that you had interest in before, give us maybe the reasons why. I'm going to give you a reason from the male perspective. A sort of suggestion and invitations to help you, mostly ladies, to protect yourself next time from such incidences. Let me start here. I'm going to present a few suggestions, few solutions, a few amongst many. One being the first, it was your fault as a lady. You know, we say times have changed, things have changed. It's new times, dynamic times, things have changed. Let me tell you something. Some of us haven't changed, and we are not planning on changing anytime soon. And that's the truth. Men will always be men, women will always be women. Doesn't matter what you do today to try and be like the other, but fact is nature. It will always neutralize everything to what it was intended to be. And as males, we are made to be hunters. We hunt, right? We take pride in the fact that I hunted and I got it. That's what makes us proud, right? These days you have these ladies who think, nah man, 50-50 is good. It's time we get what we want. If I like the guy, I go after the guy. And that's the reason why somebody had an interest in you and lost it. Because you show this guy that you have interest in him, you approach him, you tell him you have interest in the guy. In the nature of a man or the male species, you know, sometimes it feels a bit, not everybody, not all of us are gifted in the gift of saying no. Not many of us have that gift. Not many of us have that discipline, which is not something to be proud of, but not many of us have that discipline. It happens. It's life. So, because you presented yourself as a living sacrifice to this guy, well, he's not willing to look like a stupid man in the eyes of people. Then he will heed to their offering and will accept you and will show some interest. But it's not really interest. It's just that you tempted him, right? And he heeded to the temptation. Then he liked you for the time being, to a point where he gets to himself and say, actually, let me be true to myself. I really didn't want this lady and I'm not going to put up with this. Better I leave it. Then he loses the interest in you. That's the one reason I'm getting out of my head off the bat. You approached the guy and he didn't want to say no. Maybe you were friends, you were very close to each other, but he didn't see you as a partner, intimate partner in that manner. Then when you showed him actions or when you proposed to him, it didn't want to embarrass you, it didn't want to make you feel bad because it was going to affect the relationship. Then better I just accept out of pity. So never allow yourself to be accepted out of pity, because that's a very dangerous scenario or situation to be in. It's a red flag. Number one. Number two, one of the reasons why people might be losing interest, and I'm talking from the male perspective, I'm trying to help women. Check if you have once lost a guy, if a guy has once lost interest in you, how old was he? Because I have this theory in my head, what I'm offering here is a suggestion, is my perspective, right? Guys below the age of 30, be careful. Just be careful. If you're looking for something permanent, be careful, because not many of the guys below 30 are looking for that. Well, they might say that. Here's the thing. An ancient proverb said, never trust a man who's in love. And many people were asking me, why do you say that? Because I put this on my status. The reason is, when you're in love, you don't think rationally. It's like when you're drunk or high. Never trust a man who's drunk or high. Never trust a person who's drunk or high. Because you are not rational. You're not thinking straight. Your emotions are diluted. There's what we call dopamine, which is taken over, is clouding your thoughts. Instead of you thinking straight, you are thinking with your emotions. You cannot be trusted. So when a man is in love, those pheromones and dopamine effect, the hormones, are moving all over the body, and they cloud his thinking ability. And then he promises you the world. What I realize is that women do not get heartbroken because they lost a guy. No, they get heartbroken because of the promises that a man made to this lady, the dreams that the guy sold to the lady when he was high in love, drunk in love. That's what it is. So usually the age group, the point I'm making is, everybody below the age of 30, they're still governed by their emotions, their pheromones, their feelings. What I want to feel in the moment. This lady makes me feel good. I like how she looks. I like the babies. And the beautiful future that you see with this lady. So he also is not thinking straight about you, because you might not be the right person for him. Then he's activated by the things he sees. And he's not really ready to commit to something bigger than just a relationship. So those people are red flags. You need to be careful. So he will tell you he loves you, and he's right in the moment. He's in love. He's right at that time. But later he will come to back to his senses. He realizes, I'm still young. I'm not going to do this. Right? Most people, most men, I'm not saying everybody. I'm just generalizing. So people below the age of 30, red flags, they sometimes lose interest. I mean, there are successful marriages that came out of the 20s. It happens. But in this time we're living in, I say times have changed, right? Because they have changed. The dynamics have changed. They have changed. But yeah, be careful. Now, the third group of people is the ones above 30, who are still going to tell you they want to marry you, and they still lose interest in you. Well, sometimes they're just douchebags. I mean, that's the truth. They're just douchebags. You find a guy who's above 30 but is just nowhere. Then it's quite tricky. It's not easy for you to deduce. But now that's where your discernment spirit comes into place, where you now be careful with how you choose this guy. To say, is this the guy that I want for my life? Be rational about it. Don't be in love about it. Don't be emotional about it. Be rational about it. Where you look at the guy and say, is this guy capable of being the father of my children? The same question applies to the other side. Looking at your wife as a woman and say, would this woman make a good mother to my children? Because it doesn't end with you. I think the next step that we need to take this thing to, in terms of getting the right partner, is we need to start deciding not based on how we feel about each other, but based on how the children are going to feel about us. So if we are going to be in a relationship together, we need to go into this test of evaluating, Are my children going to be happy having a mother like this? Ooh, that's deep. You. If you're not ready to confront that question, then you're not ready. Be careful. So if a guy is above the 30s, I'm trying to be fast here. If a guy is above the 30s and is still doing funny stuff, then, man, is a douchebag. But now use those parameters to check if this guy is the one for you, right? Be rational about it. And then you are able to get maybe a good guy. But the point is, there's many things that make people lose interest. Sometimes they lose interest because you are not what they thought you were, right? You presented yourself as this good fruit, a good-looking fruit, but inside you were rotten, right? You were that fig that was looking all great outside. In the outside you were great, but inside you have a worm. So you're not good. You bite. So it happens. Then I lose interest. It's not what was presented to me, right? You know that moment when you buy something because you thought it was something else, but now after opening it you realize, man, it's not really what I thought it would be, and then you lose the interest. That's the other thing that makes people lose interest. So it's a nice observation that I made for myself, and I think it's an observation that I would like to hear you guys make as well. I mean, what do you make of this question? What makes people lose interest? I didn't say everything. It's a lot, but those are the things that I come up with right now at the moment. Which is the first one. A lady presented to the guy. And I mean, it's hard to say no sometimes for other guys, not gifted the same way. Times have changed. You see those things, the excuses that you give yourself to do stuff. Times have changed. If you like him, go get him. Personally, I don't think it works. That's why people lose interest. Number two, the guy was young. He was not ready. He was not ready to commit to something. He just liked the apple, how the apple looked. Then he wanted to possess the apple, wanted to get the apple. Then decided to go after you. He got you. Then he realized later that, nah, man, it's not really what I want. I'm not ready for this. And you know, sometimes ladies, when you get to that age, you have an age that you are thinking now, it's time for me to have babies. I don't know who tells you this, but somehow there's an age that all of you ladies just go, it's time to have babies, it's time to get married, it's time to be settled. Yeah, but the guy's not there. Then clash of interest, conflict of interest. Number three, the guy is above 30, but then your interests are not the same. You are not capable of raising children together. Your children are not going to be proud of you as a parent, or your wife, or your husband as a parent. You look at this person and say, is this the kind of person I want to raise my babies with? I understand we have a good relationship together, but his ideologies, right? Check the background. Check where this guy is going. Check how he was raised, and the lady, vice versa. Because a lot of what we get from our background comes into play without us realizing. Because it's in our subconscious, in our unconscious mind, most of these things. So you need to check, is this person capable of raising my children? Fourthly, what did I say again? I said the fourth thing is that, sometimes we just get into relationships, we realize that the person is not what I thought it was, right? The covering was good, the branding was okay, it was great, I liked it, but the performance was not what I expected it to be. So yeah, those are my offerings. But now at the end of it all, this is what it boils down to. Who are you? That's what it is. Because at the end of the day, it's about you as an individual. We need to get to a point where you ask yourself, what part did I play into getting into this mess? Because you put yourself in the situation that you are in. All the situations you find yourself in, okay, 90% of all the situations you find yourself in are self-induced. You put yourself in that situation, and life just turns out to be not so fun and friendly sometimes. So check yourself first, because I mean, you attract what you are. You are a reflection. Whatever that you find around you is a reflection of what happens inside you. So get in touch with you first before you want to get in touch with the world and everybody else. Who are you? Find yourself. It's finished. My perspective. Remember, guys, this TMP Q&A Wednesday is open for questions within the lines of personal development, relationships, money, personal financial well-being, and all things education, academic, inspiration. That's what we're all about. It's all about personal growth and development, growing together. So bring in your questions. I welcome your questions, and I'm willing to respond if I have a perspective. If I don't have a perspective, I'm willing to welcome your guys' perspective. So stay tuned. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Share if this thing makes you feel like da 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 da. And yeah, comment in the comment section. See you next time. It's finished. Oof.